Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life Community Calendar at ncwlife.com.
Welcome to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees with Bonnie Orr. Each week, Bonnie and her co-host Dan Kuntz walk you through the do's and don'ts, the challenges, and the rewards of gardening in North Central Washington. So, let's garden.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees, our summer hiatus is over. You and I have not seen each other for a while.
Well, the people are complaining about the reruns.
I know. There's a lot of good reasons, but the bottom line is it's summertime and there's really not a lot going on in the wonderful world of gardening.
And what, in your garden?
In my garden, no, there's nothing going on.
Well, I wish I can't say I've been sleeping myself, sir.
You know, they say prunes keep you regular. They do. And so does pruning, does it not?
Yes, and it keeps the plants regular.
What are we doing today, Bonnie?
We're going to talk about how to make plants stay regular.
Okay, and the way you do it is to prune.
That's right.
So the first question, I know it's going to sound a big umbrella question, why do we prune plants? What's the reason?
See, this is the really important question, because it is not because they are too big in the wrong place. Because if you have a plant next to the front door and you're whacking it back all the time, wrong bush, wrong place.
Okay.
That's not a reason to prune, and usually the pruning is done so poorly that the plant just gets mad and gets even, and then gets bigger and bushier. I mean, okay. There has to be a reason rather than just reducing the size of it. The first reason is letting in the light.
Makes perfect sense.
Because there's leaves all along the branches, right? The second reason is you're going to let in air, so air can circulate to keep out mildew, to keep dirt off the leaves. Because have you noticed that it's windy here?
It did. It blows a little.
And we really have a lot of dust that settles on plant leaves. So if we have the wind moving through the plant, it makes photosynthesis better. So
it's better for the overall health of the plant, period.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Before we go to commercial, are there any plants that self-prune, or will they just go until they keel over and it's all done?
Trees.
Trees self-prune?
Trees do not need to be pruned.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
It's pruning. We'll talk about tools. We'll go out and do some active pruning, which means I have to get sweaty again, but it's well worth it. It's good to be back. Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees, pruning today. When we come back on the NCW Life channel.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees will be right back after this. Get the fastest internet available in North Central Washington by switching to LocalTel and get speeds up to 1,000 meg. Call 888-8888 today or go online to localtel.net. Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees on the NCW Life channel.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees. Bonnie Orr, Dan Kuntz. You've always been a fan of the right tool for the job. We've learned that from day one from Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees. It applies to everything you do in the garden, most especially with pruning.
And you know what? Size matters. Absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
You've heard this before.
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have. You have. Okay.
We have a whole smorgasbord of tools here.
Yes, I borrowed tools. Some of them are mine. And we want to talk about the purpose for each one of them.
Each of them serves a purpose. You want to do the right tool for the right job. I remember this one from an earlier episode.
Okay, this is an anvil cutter. Okay, and this is one where the blade is here and it goes onto an anvil, literally. And we did not want to use this on the roses because it smashes. But if you're taking off dead wood that is less than an inch, okay, probably less than half of an inch, this is the perfect thing to do.
Looks like it's very sharp.
It's been sharpened, but the most important thing is that we now have found a use for this, and that is taking off dead wood at the bottom of a shrub if you're reshaping it, or if you're clearing out dead wood, because that's one of the things you do for a first step. This is a smaller anvil one here, okay? And I would say that this one you could hurt yourself really easily, because this is probably for ½ inch or less. This is really for small guys.
And we've seen that before too. You have the wrong tool because it just barely fits in, and you just start. Yeah.
And then no wonder you don't like to prune.
Yeah,
you know,
you hurt the tool and you hurt your arm.
You hurt yourself.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So this is your regular bypass pruners, where the blade passes by. And one of the reasons why people go, oh, you know, I have to get a new one, it doesn't work. Well, it's because it's dirty. And we're going to talk about the fact that when they get dirty, okay, you see, this is actually sap.
That is sap.
That's sap. And so, so you don't have to do something really big like using a WD-40 and steel wool. This is literally I'm going to use this. It's a soapy water deal.
That's all you have to do.
You do soapy water.
Is this something you need to do almost as soon as you're done?
It would be a good thing to do at the end of the day before you sit down for that beer. Yeah.
I was guilty as anybody, and I'll tell you an analogy. When I got my brand new set of golf clubs, the guy said, I know it's a pain in the rear end, but when you're done with each round, just wash your clubs. It doesn't take very long, and you start out ahead of the game the next time, and I do that for about a week, and then I quit doing it.
And you know, people do that with the
garden tools. Exactly.
With the garden tools. Now, okay, so
that didn't take long at all.
that didn't take very long, and that was dried on sap that I deliberately left on here for the purposes of us. Okay, so now you see the blades can move smoothly past one another, and sometimes after a bit, sometimes I get a little bit of dirt in there just because I drop my tools on the ground, which I shouldn't do. So sometimes I do a little, just a little squirt, I went off camera there. I know I did.
That's okay.
Okay, and now feel this puppy.
Oh, that's like a surgical tool.
Well, I don't want you to do surgery on me, please. Okay?
This has this little, it twists in.
Yeah,
That is cool. That probably is so much easier in your hand.
that's right. Felco. This is a Felco, and this is a Fiskars.
Fiskars.
Felco and Fiskars have that turning one. So
it's so much. What's the term? Ergonomical? Is that
yes,
the term
I think so,
want to use?
and you don't hurt yourself nearly as badly. Now,
Oh, you could cut all day with these things.
You could.
Yeah.
now remember, we have different sizes, okay? Because sometimes you need to do fine little cuts. And again, you can see I've left this in
dirty.
here. A little dirty.
You want me to do the
This
honors?
is-
Or do you...
Wait, I would love to have you do
Sure.
the honors. There we go.
And you just get in there, and it just comes right off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that many times people, and if you use WD-40 first, it won't come off because it's water soluble, right? Sap is water soluble.
So you wash and then you.
That's right. And then if you need to be a tougher, then that's when you do that.
How
But
about normal household oil that you see everywhere? Would that work on
you
these
could
things?
You could use
Okay.
that. You know, somehow or another, I have just sort of gone to the silicone WD-40 thing. The problem with household oil is it will dry and get sticky, and then you really have to do a major wash with hot water and get it off. I mean, so then sometimes you get yourself into deeper. I met somebody who used Pam once, you know, spraying them. Oh my God, the tools were just ghastly.
This is stainless steel. It's now washed, but it's still wet. Do I need to dry it?
Yes.
Okay.
But just for aesthetics.
Just for aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
necessary.
Okay, so what we have had so far, we have an anvil cutter for things less than an inch. Okay, probably less than half an inch is for dead wood.
Deadwood.
Deadwood.
And deadwood isn't that hard to cut. It's dead.
But sometimes it is. Sometimes
really?
it is. And that's why you need that type of an action. Then we have these guys here. Okay, so hand pruners are for half an inch or less. Okay? This guy here is for a quarter inch or less. Okay?
Okay.
I mean, and you really do have to know what size it is because you will hurt yourself.
Again,
Okay.
not a good idea.
Okay. Now, this guy here, okay,
I believe I've used this tool before.
I think you've used this tool, okay? This guy is a loppers, and I when I'm working with pruning, I'm working in the inside of a bush. I want to use short guys because otherwise you can't move around. And this is for anything up to an inch. Okay, probably half an inch to an inch. Now,
Okay.
well, now what do we do now?
I was going to say. Now we move to the saw.
You move to the saw.
Okay.
Anything over an inch, it prevents you from hurting yourself.
And again, we don't want to hurt ourselves. You know, I see this and I think, well, I'm just going to go as wide as I can and get right on it. And it's
So
just,
just like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah. And I'm obviously built a lot like, a lot of people have said that. I'm built
I
like
know.
Arnold.
See,
yeah.
I just knew
Yeah,
that.
big
See?
strapping
See, me
handsome
too.
son of a gun. So, a tooth, do I have an oral hygiene problem, Bonnie, or what's that all about?
This is for the teeth
Okay.
of the saw. Wouldn't you use a toothbrush for the teeth
Yeah,
of a saw?
makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. Okay. And you do that before you put the saw away.
Okay. And
Okay,
how,
and
you would
it-
just like brushing your teeth like this, or would you
yep.
do something like that?
Yeah, like
or
that. Well, whatever gets it out.
Because it wants to. I feel like it wants to cut the bristles right out of the toothbrush.
It won't. And this actually, I do keep this clean. I mean, I never put this away.
I was going to say, I'm cleaning something that's already clean. This looks pretty good.
But the idea is that I'm trying to
that
make
one. Okay.
using toothbrush.
Okay.
Okay. With our teeth, I mean, it makes
Yeah,
it
it
only
makes
makes
perfect sense. And
Okay.
again, I need to dry this off now that I'm done.
I would
Yeah.
dry I would dry things off.
Now this, when you store this is always retracted for a safety reason, right?
Yes.
So.
And you know something? This is retracted when you finish a cut. And you're going to put it down and you're going to step back and look to see what you're doing. You never lay it on the ground.
Because.
You could easily trip on it.
Oh no, that
Or you
would be
could
bad.
scrape your arm on it. Truly, I mean, it is so easy to retract. You just go, okay, now you can put it in your pocket and go, okay, now what am I going to do? But that is a mistake lots and lots of people make.
If this is so easy to retract, how come I can't retract this? Oh, okay. I'll put it with.
It was just a different push.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see that. That'd be terrible.
Well, it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons people don't like to prune is because they have not they don't take they get hurt and they go, that wasn't fun. I'm not going to do this again. Now, this guy here, okay, he has this is not this is a one that was given to me, and it was not taken care of for a while, and you can see where it is where I had to actually use steel wool to get it clean, because if those little bumps were still there, then when I was trying to pull it in and out, it would hang up, and that is no fun at all.
And these will cut both directions, so
Yes.
once you start, and as each both back and forth, you're getting deeper and deeper into the cut.
And the better part is that you can use it left-handed
Or right-handed.
right-handed.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to do that, because if you're trying to stand on your head and cut like this, well, this is ridiculous when you
Yeah.
could easily, do it.
Do I need to clean this at all? Or?
No.
Okay.
I'm just showing. Now, here's another venerable old saw. This is one that was passed on to me. I have lots of. Now, this one here does need to be cleaned.
Yeah,
okay?
it's a little.
Now, this-
probably both ways.
and see this one here? It has rust on it. Okay. See.
Does rust mean it's over, it's done, throw it away?
No.
It can be
It means
salvaged.
that it wasn't taken care of.
Okay. So
So-
it's not something to be too concerned with.
No, This one probably would need to be sharpened, and there are people who sharpen saws. But look at here, see? Now, if you now this side here, you can feel how rough it is.
Yeah.
Okay, you can feel
Yep.
that. Okay,
Oh, this is smooth.
smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, just like a baby skin, right?
And now
Just-
you're not putting a lot of effort into it.
No, but what a difference it made. Okay. So this is the bottom line. It doesn't take very much work to maintain your tools.
And you always do this when you're done with each and every tool, just like my golf club analogy. When you're done, clean them.
I do before
Yeah.
I sit down and have a beer.
Yep.
I always do. Okay, so anyway, so that's what you do with these guys. Now this is really a nice one because because it's curved, and so you can go and you can get into branches in the inside. So that's why this whole blade is curved, where the other ones were straighter blades.
How old do you suppose this tool is? This was given to you, right?
Yeah, it was given to me. That's probably 25 or 30, 25 years
Okay.
old.
And this is something you got to be pretty careful with, because unlike this, this is
Yes.
a perfect example. This does not retract.
That's
These
right.
teeth are always exposed.
And sometimes people just hang them on the branch, thinking they're going to come back to it. Falls on your head.
So how do you store this when you're not using it? Do you lay it flat, or?
I actually have a shelf, and
Okay.
they stay like this on a shelf, and then it has pieces of styrofoam. It fits into pieces of styrofoam.
Okay. Because this is something I could see this, because you can't retract it, could be a real problem.
No, well, you're just storing it.
Yeah, just storing it. Yeah, but it looks like.
It does.
Speaking of getting the job done, this looks like this isn't going to do anything.
Okay, so these
This looks in bad shape.
Oh yeah, okay. These are tools that I borrow because I don't own a hedge.
Okay, so there's no reason to have a hedge trimmer.
Okay, now and this guy here, he's not only in bad shape, but and I did clean him up some, but you can see it's a really hard working. And here's the most serious part: it doesn't have a bumper. So if you have an old tool like this and it doesn't have a bumper, you're gonna hit it together 3 times and see how much your arms feel.
Oh, jeez.
That's too hard to work.
Yeah.
So this is the type of thing that should be recycled as metal.
Okay.
Okay.
This is, you can't. This is unsalvageable at this point.
Unsalvageable. See-
WD-40 washing it. This is not going to work.
No. See. Okay. So Now, this one here, I also, this is another borrowed tool. You can feel that I've cleaned it up. It has not been taken care of. It was used on hedges a lot, and there's lots of sap. But now try this one.
Oh, this is very smooth.
Well, okay, first of all, it's smooth.
It has a bumper.
And it has a bumper.
So
you do not wear out your arms, you know. And so sometimes keeping a tool that has, and this is a Corona, this was a good tool to start with. You know, the more you pay, the easier your work is. You know.
Bonnie, what's the purpose of this little half moon?
Oh, that's to hold it in place. Okay.
Okay.
So if it's a little branch, and sometimes they just slip out when you're trying to do, you're doing the hedges, and you have a place that you need to get, and it slips off when you try there. So you slip that in there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Isn't that cool?
That's
why. See, this is a good tool.
This is a very good tool. You can tell.
Yeah.
So,
it hasn't been well cared for, but it is now going to be happier because I have cleaned it.
and now we have one with a little bit of torque to it.
Yes. Okay. Now this is one you can hurt yourself with. Okay. Again, it has a bumper. Okay. But the thing about this one is that because it has these very, very long fulcrum things.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the right word, but anyway.
I know what you're talking about. Sure.
Anyway, first of all, you can overreach, and so then you hurt your back. And secondly, you are reaching in a dangerous spot over your head. That's not a good idea either.
No.
And
it's heavy.
And it's heavy, and you're holding it out in front of you as far as you can to get that branch over there. And if you're on a ladder, you're really in trouble.
Yeah. And of course, since there's no real resistance this way, you go all the way out. You think, I could cut a tree down with this thing, which you can't do. Wrong tool for the job.
1 inch.
1 inch, and then you go to the
1
saw.
inch, yeah.
Then go to the saw.
And people don't.
Yeah.
People, they go, oh.
Is it just plain laziness? I don't have the right tool, but I'm at it and I'm working and I don't want to stop, so I'll just keep hacking away and hope I get the job done?
I'd like to hope that it's just that people have just not been truly told about how the tools are designed. And the more they know about tool design, the better they are.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, so
What next?
Oh, we are going to talk about different types of pruning.
Different types of pruning. Should we do that next?
Yes.
Let's do that next.
Okay.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees will be right back after this.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCW Life Community Calendar at ncwlife.com.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees on the NCW Life channel.
Oh, I love it when you dig out the books.
I know. This is the Bible of Pruning. Guide to Pruning by Cass Turnbull. And she was here a few years ago. Arbor Day and Master Gardeners brought her in for a series of lectures. And unfortunately, she died unexpectedly in December. Really very sad, a young person. But this woman makes pruning make sense. And you can still buy her book.
Probably on Amazon or almost any place.
Any place. And so I recommend this book because the illustrations are really good. She does it with a sense of humor.
Ah.
It is just exactly what you would want to know. Okay? And
Oh, this is fantastic. And it is the Bible of pruning because the first page says right here, in the beginning there was a burning bush and it needed to be pruned. So it's amazing how that happened.
So
I'm sorry to hear about Cass's unfortunate passing,
demise,
but this is, if you're halfway serious, it's everything you need to know is right
that's
here.
right. Everything you wouldn't have to watch the rest of the show.
Well, we don't want that.
No, okay, so we better stop there.
So.
Okay. So
Can I have this book?
No, that one's signed to me.
Yeah, it's signed. It's
signed.
signed.
to
It's
me.
signed. Bonnie. Oh, that's not cool. I'm going to put this aside, though.
Okay.
Okay, what do we got?
Okay, so
We have tools and we have things that need to be
That's
cut.
right. But what we have to do is we have to start recognizing how a plant's leaves are organized, because that's going to guide you to cutting. This is a climbing hydrangea, and notice that the leaves are opposite each other. Okay, so if you're going to do a cut, and I'm just going to do a bigger, because that's more than this. So
My favorite. I just love that tool.
So tell me about how the angle of this cut should be.
A slight angle, but not too much, or
Okay.
just a straight 90
Tell me
degree.
why.
Well, the slight angle, from previous episodes, it prevents water from getting in and then rotting out or mildewing or whatever the case may be the individual branch.
So
The water peels off of it. It can't collect where the cut is, correct?
So if I cut like that, that's pretty steep.
It is very steep.
And it takes the plant a long time to build up tissue. So what we would like to do is have it just like
Just
that.
straight
just
like that.
barely, barely.
It's
But-
still an angle, but not very much one.
That's right. But this is not a good cut, and tell me why.
Well, I don't know why. I would think that would be a fine cut.
Because it's too far from a bud.
Oh, yes, it is. It's a good. Yeah. Now I get it.
Okay,
Yep.
so the thing is that if I cut like this, okay, then what happens is that, first of all, that this is never going to recover and it will die back. And you'll get these dead little ends sticking out all over. Not a good thing.
No.
And also you can get disease, insects, water, rot. So if you're too far away, you're in trouble. But the other thing is, if you are too close,
Like you just did.
like I just tried to do, I tried to do a really close one here.
You accomplished that.
There, see, where I actually interfere with the growth of this bud.
Okay.
Well, that's not going to be
Just
good
as
either
bad.
because it's not going to heal. So it's like Goldilocks, right? Too hot,
Too
cold,
cold.
just
Just
right.
right.
So
All of a
just
sudden, I'm hankering for some porridge.
oh, you are okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Maybe for lunch.
okay. So what we're going to do is about 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch above.
So it's not interfering with the buds that are coming out of the
That's
stem.
right.
It's below the stem line, but it's still. This is going to recover fairly quickly.
That's right, and you are not going to have the dead or dying back, and it's just at a very slight angle, and so that the plant can heal itself.
I'm going to do an umbrella statement here. I'm assuming most people don't even think about this. They think, oh, I got a wild branch sticking out here. I'm just going to go in there and just cut it. So it's not growing wild anymore.
And then they get dead stems, and then they go, that thing looks just wretched.
Yeah.
And the neighbors say that too.
Yeah.
Ooh, not a good idea. Now, so this one has opposites.
Okay.
Okay?
Now we have some that are every other.
Every other.
Mm-hmm.
That's another word for every other is alternate.
Alternate.
Okay, and that's just fine. And you can see that if you hold it flat, it goes one,
Two, yep.
two, yep, it goes across. So
Oops. Oops.
now,
One way to trim it.
it's important to know whether it's opposite or alternate. If it's opposite, then you're going to cut
Like these are.
where two, where the two
Opposite.
are going to, and you cannot do directional. Whereas this, if I want this plant to continue to grow that way, I am that one is too close. Do I get to try again?
Please, yeah.
Okay.
Do-overs.
Do-overs, okay, there we go, okay. Okay, so now this one is going to continue to grow. Now, this is also the same thing when you only have buds, okay? So, and these are late, all of these little lenticels, here's a latent bud right there, okay? So, if I want this thing to grow that way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off, and I am going to take off the other leaf, off the other bud.
Okay.
So now this bud will have the dominance, and this thing will grow this away. Okay? This is another one with opposite. This is the famous forsythia, something that needs to be pruned on a regular basis.
Yeah, these things will really take off.
They can. Yes, indeed. We know that that's probably true. Now, where's my whirl? Where's my guy with the whirls? Here. Now notice that on these guys, you have one part of the stem. There's the leaves that come off of one side. Okay, they. Do I have? I'm trying to make this. Okay. Okay. So the leaves come off of. So if you turn it upside down, the leaves are all coming. They all come off the same side. Whereas when you have something in a whorl, see this. So we have leaves coming up from this side,
And then they're kind of flopping over.
and then leaves coming off of this
Right.
side, and so they grow more round. And again, where do you want that plant to grow? Do you want the side on the underside to be growing out, or do you want the upper side to be growing
You
out?
have to put thought into it. You just can't take the tool and start hacking. That's number
right.
one.
That's right.
Make a plan. Look at it.
And that's what we really want to talk about, and that's one of the things that Cass said. You wander, ponder, and prune. Okay?
Okay.
You wander around the whole thing and say, okay, where is it exactly that this plant isn't working, or what do we need to do? And we're going to do that. And then you ponder for a while and decide, okay, now how much can I take off? Remember, about a third is the maximum you could ever take off for cutting back. And then you actually get down to the pruning. And sometimes that takes, you can't just walk out and do it.
And keep in mind, why we prune is to help the photosynthesis, to get light and air inside the heart and the meat of the plant.
And to reshape, and to lift off the ground, you know, if there's a problem with your watering system, you know, where it's being obstructed, or if you have other things that you want to plant near something. So for reshaping sometimes is something that is essential for your
And yet, I've seen people go in and prune, and they do a lot more than a third. I mean, they basically give it a crew cut.
Yes, and sometimes then they make it into a little poodle dog.
Yeah,
and do all sorts of things.
Yeah. Again, same deal. It's too big. I'll just. That's fine now. Well, it's not fine now. It's going to be in trouble.
Now, conifers are not designed to be pruned.
We talked about this earlier.
Conifers are not designed to be pruned, and actually we're a little late in the season. If we had done this a couple of weeks ago, this would still have been a candle, which would have been that little tight whirl, okay? And what you would do is you just break, and I can no longer break it out. May I have the little pinky guy?
There you go.
Okay, so the way okay, now what I have done, I have taken out the new growth. This is the new growth. We could pretend like it was a candle. And then that is going to prevent it from growing another long branch this year. And so that's how you trim back a conifer, is you just take off the lead, not on the sides. But what happens many times is that people wait until it gets too big. And then they want to truly start cutting it back. And when you do this, okay, it looks crazy. And it makes the plant really unhappy.
It stresses the heck out of it.
And they will die. They will not be happy. And so conifers are not designed to be cut.
Okay.
That's why a right tree in a right place, you know, people have these Christmas trees they plant. And then they all of a sudden grow up to be big Colorado blue spruces.
In the wrong spot.
In the wrong spot.
Yeah.
In the wrong spot. Yeah, see here, again, we would be cutting out technically the candle. It's not a candle anymore, but anyway. And then that will stop the tree from getting any bigger this year.
Right. Or just this year, or forever and ever?
Well, no, you have to do it every year.
Okay.
Okay. See, and I have another one here that was cut before, so I cut that out again. All right.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees will be right back after this.
Are you wanting high-speed internet but don't have access to PUD fiber? Try Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet from LocalTel. Call 888-8888 today.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees on the NCW Life Channel.
Anyway.
I've seen evergreens, sizable evergreens, that they have the one center shoot that's going up. That's where, and that shoot is either cut or dies, and then it never gets taller. It just goes out. It just says, I still got energy and juice, and I want to live, and since I can't go up, I'll go out.
You know, topping a tree that is not pruning.
Right.
That's manslaughter.
Should you ever? Is there any reason at all to ever top a tree?
Never.
Okay, because that's what's going to happen, right?
Well, see, okay, so what happens? People did not plant a utility-wise tree.
Right.
And so the utility company comes and goes, oh, and by the way, you know, where they're going to have to take a divot out of that tree, out of the branches on the side, or else you're going to have to cut it down because it's the wrong tree in the wrong place.
That actually happened to me. I had trees that were getting fairly close to the utility lines, and the guys came out, the professionals came out supposedly, and they just cut the trees in one big row about 10 feet below the utility line. That was all well and good, except the tree kept going out. It grew out, and it was up against the fence, ended up knocking the fence over. It was like we got rid of one problem and created another.
It got even. Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, there are other smaller shrubs. Okay, and this is a piece of lavender that has winter kill on it. Okay, that's its first problem. So we're gonna take off the winter kill. And
by the way, it smells wonderful in the set right now.
I know, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because of this. Okay, so then, okay, now that's opened it up, and the thing is that on this particular one, it's gotten large and woody, and so I am leaving it. This is a one that fell down with the snow. okay, and it had the dead material on it. But I'm leaving it like that, and see, this year, the bark had all of these latent buds in it. There's a bud, there's a bud, there's a bud. So it is now going to be filling itself in. So you do not have to despair that it looks terrible, okay? If you allow it to have light, you cut off this stuff, this will give it more light, and see, this is all new growth this year. So now the plant will be filled in instead of having that horrible empty center.
Right, and it won't take very long. Once it's, hey, I get light, oh cool, let's go.
That's right.
Have fun.
And that's all it needs, you know? So anyway, and this is, many times you can use this kind of a tool. Now this is, looks like a grass clippers.
It is grass clippers,
It is a
Okay.
grass clippers. Okay, but try it, because
You want me
on
just
the
to cut
soft
this right
material,
here?
yeah.
Just,
There, see?
okay.
Okay. Now, in order to make it rebloom, you want to go down about a half again. Yeah. There we go. Okay.
Oh, you have nice tools.
This thing will now be able to regrow, okay, and it'll set up new blossoms for the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a nice tool. I like
But
this.
isn't this thing being on an angle like that?
Purpose of the knob here?
Lock.
Lock, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. I like this. Can I have this along with the book?
Yeah. Okay. But then you have to work in your yard.
Okay. Well, we are going to go out and do some practical applications.
That's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Okay, so now the types of cuts we're going to do, okay? There are thinning cuts. And thinning cuts is where you remove a branch clear to the ground, okay? Or down to a big join.
Okay.
And you're thinning it out. You're letting in the air.
We've
and
done that
sunlight,
with the rose bushes.
and the rose
past.
bushes.
Yep.
That's exactly what you're doing,
Okay.
okay? And then the other kind of cutting, which is the most common kind of cutting, is called a heading cut. And what you're doing is you're cutting the tips off, okay? And so people, I mean, you know, this is where these are mismanaged, okay? You know, they're cutting the tips off to make it the right size,
Or
okay?
they're trying to make it look like a horse
That's
or a
right.
dog or something like that.
That's right. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And it creates bushiness, okay? And but it's a type of pinching back like you do with chrysanthemums.
Sure.
You know, to make them bushy and to have more flowers. But what happens is that you get all sorts of interesting things happening. Now, let's look at B3. This Japanese maple, okay, was severely head cut a month ago. And you can see where the sunlight has actually burned the leaves that were exposed, and they were going, oh my God, what is all this light? You
It's
can
like
see-
somebody who lives in Norway goes to vacation for Mexico for 2 weeks and doesn't bring any sunscreen with them.
Yes, exactly. And that's
Right.
and you can see that's exactly what happened to these leaves. But you can also see that there's exuberant regrowth because it has all this energy, and that's what a heading cut does. And you can see that each one of the branches now is going to have 3 or 4 new sets of little stems going out. And so that's a heading cut that worked. It's too bad it was done during the heat. But
Okay.
other than that, it was great. Now, when we look at B1, this Colorado blue spruce.
We
Well.
just talked about that.
Yes. Okay. You can see that this was done with in a gas hedge clippers. Okay.
Okay.
And there's dead ends because the thing was just run over, and there was no thought. And this is one of the reasons why I am not necessarily a fan of electric or gas pruners, because you don't think about it. All you're doing is manipulating this particular piece of equipment.
You're not so much pruning it as you are shaping it.
Well, yes, but there's, look at all the dead ends
Sure.
on this. I
Yeah.
mean, you can see that this Colorado blue spruce is going to have dead ends until next year when new candles form. So I'm not willing to put up with that.
It's one thing to have to put out with a little cosmetic inconvenience for a couple of weeks while
Yes.
it recovers, but not for the rest of the year.
Not for the rest of the
No.
year. Now, on B2, now this Mugo pine, oh my gosh. Okay, again, somebody got tremendously enthusiastic. And you can see that their tool was not as sharp as they thought it was. It was probably the 3rd or 4th thing they had cut that day, and the limbs are shattered. And this is really, really serious, because these shattered limbs, there's going to be desiccation, it's going to dry out, and also it's an opportunity for disease to move in. This is this plant is going to have quite the time recovering. Again, because it was done without thought. It was just shaped. I mean, they wanted to make it into a ball, and unfortunately, the thing hadn't been made into a ball for a long time, and so they had to cut off way too much. Instead of cutting over a period of years, or maybe twice in a season, they did it all at one time.
What did we talk about at the beginning of the program? It's mull, the three steps of pruning. I forgot already.
You wander,
ponder,
and prune.
then prune.
Right, and there was
And
no...
this was not done in this case.
Only the pruning was done, or the butchering is what I want to call
because
it.
now the plant we're talking about, it's not going to recover.
No,
I mean, it's
the smuggle pine is going to look awful for
right,
a long
because
time.
you didn't mull and you didn't meander.
Yeah.
You just went in there and
I like
hacked.
it, mull and meander.
Mull and meander.
Now, this is what I call the angry arborvitae, okay? Now, these are raw cuts, and what happened here on this arborvitae is that the person they got a new car, and the arborvitae was into the driveway, and it scratched the new car.
Sure.
That's why it's the angry arborvitae. So they just went in with a electric hedge clippers and just, it wasn't, they just did a job. And these raw cuts, okay, again, are going to be visible for a year or more. And in fact, if you look clear at the bottom, there's no green material. They cut away all the green material. Well, if the plant has no green material, it cannot grow more stuff. So this is going to look ugly forever. But I do have a solution.
What's that?
Spray paint. You buy 5 different colors of green spray paint.
Okay.
And you just spray those ends.
Oh.
And I mean, and just at first glance, it truly does sort of hide the damage, because there's nothing else that is going to hide the damage.
Seems like cheating, but
Well, it's the best recovery you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
5 colors. Okay.
Well, the best thing you could have done is, again, take a look at what you're going to do before you just go in and do it.
That's right, and the idea of cutting back past the green material. Okay, it made it the right size for the driveway, but unfortunately, it had, that plant probably, this arborvitae should be taken out.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to go practice what we preach.
Let's do it. Let's go do some pruning in real life.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees will be right back after this.
For all the latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees on the NCW Life channel.
So now what we're going to do, we are going to violate everything we've been talking about. Okay? Now this is going to be called rejuvenation.
Okay.
This is a black currant bush that has been growing way too long, and it has gotten unmanageable. You can't pick the fruit, and it also is it's not producing the fruit like it should be. So what we're going to do
okay,
here?
you
what
weren't
we're
kidding.
gonna do, just throw the things over there on that piece of. Okay. Now notice how carefully we stopped and looked.
Yeah, way to make a plan there, Bonnie.
Yeah,
Yes.
make a plan here. Okay. Now.
We're really pondering here. This one right down, this is still in the, look at this. You're just going right at it.
This is called rejuvenation. And
Okay.
this is desperate. And this is allowable.
Because
Because.
it's just that unruly now. It's just gotten
yes,
that far out of control.
But notice that there's a new cane here. See, this one's growing straight up. It has
That's
all
actually in the ground as opposed to being part of the plant,
Yes,
right?
exactly. And also, notice that the bark is red instead of this old gnarly stuff.
This needs to go then too.
Yeah. No. Let's see. Yep, that one there needs to go. Yep. See, and they're all so.
Now this might be a shoot away from the actual plant here, Bonnie.
No,
nope,
no,
it's not. It's
no.
not. Yeah, see.
Yeah, see, it's part of the.
It's got a 90 degree.
It's
Yep.
part of the old guy here. So.
Right tool for the job. You want me to get in there, or do you got it?
Yeah, you got it. There we go. Go ahead.
Here.
Go for it.
So do you want me to cut it right at the?
Right down there.
You got it. I'm going in.
Okay.
Come on, you.
Is it more than an inch?
It's right at an inch. I
Okay.
think I got it. Yep,
Okay.
I got it. Well, actually, this may have another. No,
There we go. Okay. Now, let's see. This guy here has to go.
Right here. Now we're getting pretty
Yeah.
close to the inch thing here.
Yeah, we are. That's probably, yeah, see how hard you're having to work?
Yep.
This is a saw job.
Yep,
And I
that
had
was
the
a
saw.
saw.
Here's the saw. Here's the saw right
Of course,
there.
now we've already taken the biggest one out.
Okay, and this guy here
Okay.
has to be taken.
Now this I can probably just get
Yeah.
rid of this right here. See you, buddy. You're out of
Okay,
here.
now, what we have, okay, is we have the new growth from this year. And within a few weeks, okay, look at here, I can actually weed around it now too. Within a few weeks, all of these latent buds, can you see all the places where there's
Yep.
buds?
Right down in here.
Down in here, okay? These latent buds will produce. And I see one totally dead cane clear down. This is a cane bush. That's why you can do this. Okay? There's another cane that's totally dead.
Now this is actually a new shoot.
Yes, it is.
Probably not attached in any way to this plant.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's part of this plant.
Okay.
Okay? But the really fabulous thing is that this plant now in the spring will be covered totally. All the berries will be growing all the way up and down the entire length of the stem instead of just at the very tip.
I understand
Okay,
completely.
this is called rejuvenation. It is a very serious thing to do, but this had to be done.
Before we move on, the angle of the cut meant nothing to you there.
No, nothing.
Okay. Okay, because
Yeah.
we talked about that earlier.
Right.
Not when you
but
do
no,
what
see-
you just did, it's not a consideration.
That's right, but I am going to go back and do a little finesse.
Okay.
Okay. Now I bet you're wondering why we're standing next to a flower.
Bonnie, why are we standing next to a flower?
Because the same pruning principles that you use when you deadhead are the same principles that you do when you cut big
Okay.
material. So what I was deadheading this morning. I thought, you know, what I'm doing is I am cutting back to the next bud.
And you can see it right there.
There it is, right there.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm cutting back to a point of attachment. Okay? And that's what we talk about when we talk about. Okay, so
There's a couple of them right there.
there
Looks
we
like
go.
they're getting ready to
Ooh,
go.
There's some really interesting insect
What is
eggs.
that? Look at that.
You know what? Those are well, we're going to be off target. Those are stink bug eggs.
Okay.
They're gone.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So we go back to a point of attachment. You see, and it's the same thing you do when you were looking for where you're going to cut on a tree or a branch. You go to a point of attachment.
See, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 buds easy that are going to just.
That's right. That's right. And they're going to take off now.
Is that going to allow the energy of the plant to go? Okay, I don't have to
Well,
worry about these guys anymore.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
not
want
there.
to. I don't want to make seeds.
Right.
And so, and that's the purpose here is that. And then it will also, because I cut off this, it will cause it to then make a new. Okay, so if we go over here and I cut back to this point of attachment.
Right there.
What I'm going to do, what's going to happen is that's going to make two.
Oh.
Okay, and so then there'll be two sets of flowers that come out. Anyway, we're going to be cutting big stuff, but I just wanted you to see that it's the same idea.
Same idea applies.
So, why don't we look at a tree now?
Let's do it.
Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees will be right back after this.
Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue.
Welcome back to Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees on the NCW Life Channel.
This is an example of everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. First of all, look at these cuts. Wait, they all died back. It wasn't
Yep.
close. It wasn't even close to a bud.
It was just a random cut.
And why didn't you cut this one back to the attachment,
Yeah.
which would be the collar? We have to turn it around a little bit. The collar would be
Uh-huh.
right there, right? Well,
Instead, no, that's
no, and so we were just in a hurry. We're just going to cut.
Uh-huh.
And then this is my favorite one. So,
What the heck?
well, it was a large branch like this one, and instead of doing an undercut on the outside, here's the collar.
All right.
On the outside of the collar, the person who was cutting just went, and guess what?
It slipped and
And it broke off.
Broke off,
And that,
yep.
that thing just tore off, and that finished that one.
yeah, it's yeah.
So anyway, these are typical bad, and here's a non-sharp tool. I mean, this is everything you do not want to do.
Well, let's plant this and see what happens.
Okay.
On the other hand,
Okay, this is a cascara tree. And this has starting to do things which were not planned, and so it's time to make some decisions. So we're going to do this walk around, this pondering what we're going to do. And so what do we see here? We see that this single tree has all of a sudden set up a sucker.
Yep.
Which is going to try to become another tree.
About 6 inches off the ground, it splits, but it also has this little tree that's kind of saying, okay, I'm going to do my own thing too.
That's right. And so, and then at the bottom, it is even more exuberant about making more of those things.
So this whole thing, this is gone, right?
This is gone.
Okay.
Okay, so then what we have to consider is, what else is it doing? It has decided to grow very tall.
Now I see a fiber optic or maybe a telephone or cable line.
Local-tel.
Yeah. They're a great company.
They are, aren't they?
I love them. So if this goes any further than that, this is going to start taking that fiber out.
That's right, and we wouldn't want that to happen. So what we want to do is we don't just want to bend it over and just lop it off.
I was going to say, what do you do?
Well, then what you're going to do is you're going to get a little bouquet at the top.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to come down to here, to a point of attachment. And you can see that we have a logical place to cut here, because this would lower it significantly. This then becomes the leader. And then next year, when that grows tall, we lower it to here. Okay? We have another space. So then this becomes the leader. You have to let go of it so it can become a leader. It's only a follower right now.
Right.
Okay, it can become a leader. And so each time what happens is that as you lower the main stem, it recovers. If we just cut it off, you're going to have a dead stump on the top.
And a very unhappy tree.
And then you're going to have this what I call a bouquet at the top also. So that is, okay, and then that's going to be a significant amount of cutting, isn't it? Cutting a big piece out of that. And you see next year, this piece next to it would have to be cut down again to there. But it is also
crowding some other plants here.
Crowding some other plants.
It's got some neighbors here. They're going to get unhappy. It's going to take all the water. It's going to take the sunlight.
And so we can do a little bit of tipping on this one.
Okay.
And this is where we're going to tip back. And it doesn't matter if it does grow profusely, okay, like this.
Okay.
So we could tip back to a point, and then I have the wrong tool in my hand. I'm not actually wanting to cut yet because we're planting.
This is planting, right?
This is planting. And so we would cut back like that, okay, and just to be able to help keep it without crowding everybody, okay? Then, so that's what we would do with this. And that would keep it well behaved. And it would prevent it from becoming just a big shrub instead of a tree.
Yeah, it's a tree and it should grow like a tree.
Right.
But if you, as you mentioned before, if you just start hacking away, it's going to turn itself into a shrub.
Right.
And it's not going to be a very good shrub.
Nope.
And it's going to just start disrupting its neighbors. Is there a good we're here, it's late July, early August, so it's the dog days of summer. Can you do this any time and you're fine?
No, we're running a little late.
Late?
Yeah, we're running a little late.
Okay.
Yeah. The next best time to do it will be the end of September.
Okay, so go ahead and let them go.
Yeah.
For a while, and nothing really bad's going to happen for the next couple months.
But we want some new growth. I want to get this thing growing before the snow flies.
Right, and so mid-September is perfect because you still have quite a bit of mild weather. It's going to have a chance to reestablish itself before it gets cold.
Now, so here's the important thing. I have 20 minutes of work on this, and that's all. Okay, 20 minutes at the very most, and it will keep it in shape. 20 minutes a year, you can do that.
And then when we're all done, we're going to clean our tools too.
Yes, and this guy here, that's why I'm not making any cuts.
Please join us weekly for the 12th District with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Check your channel guide for times or go to ncwlife.com for details.